ends and final drive assemblies for many of the pullers with 3-4-27 Chevrolets from Merritt, Indiana, Jack Tedder.
And the front end never came off the ground on that run, maybe a little bit heavy up there. And being the test puller, of course, he'll have the opportunity to turn this pull down.
And the sled may be a little heavy. I noticed that the track officials are talking with Ron Hickson out of Scottsdale, Pennsylvania, and they're deciding whether they want to keep it at the same setting or lighten it up.
Jack is talking with members of his crew, and he really did dig up a lot of dirt. Here's the distance, 190, 190 and 3.5 inches. And we'll wait to get the official word on whether or not Jack Tedder will be back. Jack Tedder has turned down his test pull and taken the option to come right back and pull again.
John, that's the first time we've seen that used this weekend. He would have had the option of dropping 6 positions, but he doesn't want to run late in the class and be concerned about the track tearing up. These guys will really turn their tires. All of them will turn their tires at over 120 miles an hour, and those big tires become just like rototillers back there, and it'll tear up the track. So he decided he wanted to come right back to the #1 spot. Plus, the tractor had run awfully good the first time.
And his test pull was 190 feet, 3.5 inches, so we'll see if he can better that mark.
Well, they'll take it away. And I don't think he's changed it all that much. He might have gained about 5 feet out there.
And that's about it. Still did not get the front end off of the air, and I assumed that he had the opportunity to change the weight on his front end during that change up if he wanted to.
Well, we notice he's got about 2 weights hanging out in the front, and he could have moved 1 to the back. You see him bouncing a little bit. Maybe another 100 pounds on the back would have helped his pull. You want to get as much weight on the back 2 tires to get as much traction as possible.
Did come up a little bit better, 194, 9.5. 194, 9.5 for Jack Tedder, the leadoff puller in the 7,000-pound modified class. Ronnie Reed would have to be considered one of the favorites in this class.
He is the defending Grand National champion, winning not only the 7,000-pound class, but the 5,000-pound modified class as well. From Longford, Kansas, where he has a farm supply dealership, he built this tractor himself. It's running 3 8.3 Aries engines, probably the first guy to really make the Aries successful in modified pulling. Here we go, Nemesis, Ronnie Reed! Oh boy! And that's why he's a Grand National champion. He flew out the gate. He touched the brake at about the 175-foot mark, and when he touched that brake, those disc brakes locked right up, brought him around, and that's why he's a champion puller in NTPA competition.
And he had no trouble making that full pull, even though he did drift over to the right side of the track and have to get on the brake and pull it back.
All right, John, you and I will be able to see now how close he got to the right-hand side. Oh, he was a good 7-8 feet in bounds. And he was off the line. He was flying and makes our first full pull. Incidentally, they had reset the sled before Jack Tedder made that second run, and they wanted to see one more, and we'll try to get word from trackside where they're going to be, but Ronnie Reed certainly has to be maybe the favorite of the class.
1,710 cubic inches in each of these engines.
Ronnie Reed has set the pace with a full pull, and Gardner Stone is on deck.
Well, Gardner Stone is in the beautiful Vermont western slope of Middlebury, Vermont, and this is his new tractor as of about the last 8-9 months, and it's been very successful in 1985, and it will be tough to compete with in 86. A twin Allison, it's in twin injected and twin turbocharged, Mr. LTL, loud, tough, and lethal. And I'll tell you, he can generate something around 5,000 horsepower with this. Now, he did very well the other night in the 9,000-pound class on Thursday evening. I mean, a lot of the drivers are talking in the pit area. that he could be tough here in the 7. This could be his best class. He needs a full pull to tie, though. Here he comes, Gardner Stone. John, I got a hunch that if he'd had an opportunity to rerun that he would have taken 100 pounds off the front and moved it to the back. He just never picked up the front end of that, and he's going to fall about 20 to 25 feet short of a full pull here this afternoon.
And here it comes on the replay, and as Dave said, you'll see that the front wheels, I don't know if they even did ever get on. They're bouncing a little bit.
They bounced a couple times, but not the way that you have to. You got to take chances in some of these classes.
And so it's a steady pull, and it's pretty much right down the middle of the track. And it comes up a 212, 9.7 for Gardner Stone. Norm Smith is next up from first.
The J&H pulling team owned by John Shaw out of Fultonham, New York. And Norm Smith, one of the top professional drivers in the United States. He's driven for numerous teams, including Ron Bargy, Jim Wilson, the Banter brothers, and does a lot of driving for John Shaw. John will be driving later on this weekend in the 12,000-pound Unlimited with his 4-engine tractor. Here goes the Northeast Raider with 3 Aries engines. It needs the full side. Well, John, I don't know about you, but this building is rocking and rolling and vibrating this afternoon. The horsepower is unbelievable.
Extremely close to a full pull. He's over there on the right-hand side of the track. I don't think he quite made it. It doesn't look like it from here, but we don't have the best angle on it either. Here it comes on the replay, and we will see the front end get up a little bit. He's taking a little bit of weight off of that front end. He's been watching what's been going on.
It came up. Norm was pushing that left brake, trying to bring it around. He certainly lost some RPMs and some horsepower near the end. At 2, he does, however, move into second place.
Now on deck, Mark Hare from Springfield, Ohio, with a single Allison engine.
Well, this is an injected motor. We saw Mark run earlier in the 9,000-pound modified class, and at this point, he's probably going to be somewhat shy of horsepower compared to some of the other tractors like Ronnie Reed and Norm Smith of the J&H pulling team that we've seen. However, the best thing that he can do is take a chance, try to bring that front end up, make a smooth pull right down the center of the track so that he doesn't have to pull the sled back and forth across the track. Mark Hare is a fine puller from the Buckeye State. Springfield, Ohio's Hare's hooker, Mark Hare. And I think that Mark probably made just about as good a pull as he's going to make there as some of the alcohol burns off. That Allison engine, a 1,710 cubic inch motor that was used in World War II, and we've seen a number of them here so far in this presentation.
It's a good straight pull. Here it comes on the replay. Not a lot of motion from right to left. He had a lot of good tire speed built up, and once again we can see the tires wrinkling up, so we know there's a lot of stress there, and just doesn't have that horsepower that a lot of the other competitors here have. 174, 11.5 is the distance for Mark Hare. And next up, Barney Klaus. From Belton, Missouri, kind of a crowd favorite on Barney's Rose. Here comes Barney Klaus.
Well, Barney, as we mentioned in previous shows, has pulled all over the country. They call it Barney's Rose, running 3 KB heavy. Stops from us about 25 to 30 feet away, and the noise, John, is deafening here at trackside. He doesn't seem to be very pleased at all. As we watch it on replay, he's a rose grower from just south of Kansas City. Now he comes up. Now at that point, he's got to touch the brakes, and every time you touch them, you lose wheel speed, you lose horsepower, and there wasn't much left in his run.
And Barney Klaus pulls away, not a 183 and 8/10 of an inch. 183 and 8/10, and Barney has had better days.
Our leader is still Ronnie Reed. Currently in second place is Norm Smith on the J&H pulling team Northeast Flyer. And in third place is Gardner Stone at 212 feet, 9.7 inches.
Jack Tedder, who tested 2 weight settings on the sled, has dropped 6 positions and now comes back for his official pull.
Well, this is now his third run of the afternoon in this class. And sometimes that'll happen, John, when you're a test puller. They went through 2 settings, then he didn't like the pull that he made on the second setting, so he dropped 6 positions. So Jack Tedder out of Marion, Indiana, needs a full pull if he wants to tie Ronnie Reed. As we indicated before, the Banter rear end with the 427 Chevrolets, 3 of them. He's got to be looking somewhere at about 3,000 to 3,500 horsepower. Green light is on. Here we go. Well, he powers out right about the 196-foot mark, 195 or 196, and he doesn't seem very pleased as well. But I think he got all of it out of the tractor that he's going to get.
Drifted a little bit to the left-hand side of the track. In fact, he's here very close to us right now. You can see on the replay now he's drifting to the left, and he dug up a lot of dirt with the front of that sled, dug a pretty good trench.
It's harder to pull the transfer when you've got all that dirt piled up in front of it.
And interestingly enough, this pull was a 194 9.5. 194 9.5. And his test pull on the second weight sled weight was a 194 9.2, so he increased 0.3 of an inch with that pull.
All right, now this may be the hottest modified tractor in the world today. Later on this season, he will add a 5th motor. We may see it tomorrow in the 12 Unlimited. Right now, he has 4 Aries, and you'll notice that the back 2 engines are setting cross into the car. That all goes into one gearbox right in front of the driver. You've got to be looking at right here, 8,000 horsepower. He needs the full pull if he wants to tie Ronnie Reed, the 1985 NTPA Modified Puller of the Year, Tim Engler. Coming out of the left engine. He had fire flames coming out of the left bank on the second motor, but it was still good enough, and he ties Ronnie Reed, and we will go into overtime in this class, John. Simply amazing.
Didn't even have to pick the front end up very high. He got it up a little bit. Here it is on replay.
Oh, this guy's a professional. In his lifetime, he's built about 7 tractors for himself and has built about another 8 tractors for other people. He's a professional tractor builder, and he builds winners. Mission Impossible Tim Engler with a full pull, and he ties Ronnie Reed.
Our next competitor is another candidate for the pull-off, John Heilemann from Rockford, Ohio.
Well, John is running 3 of the 500 cubic inch Rodec engines. Here again, it's another aluminum block motor similar to the Aries. These are specially designed racing engines that are used in drag racing and other forms of racing. And one of the nice things about running an aluminum block motor is it can be repaired if you put a hole in the side or have other damage to it. But they cost a lot more than the cast iron Chevrolets that we'll see at the Banter Brothers in just a moment. John Heilemann, as we said, one of the top champions. He went for the right corner, and oh, there's problems out there. Something happened. We saw something backfire off that middle motor, and there's smoke coming out of the exhaust stacks. John Heilemann, who's been a 3-time Grand National Champion in the 7 Modified, and his family, the Heilemann family, was the 1985 NTPA Family of the Year. And of course, this sport so much geared toward the families traveling with the pullers. Of course, John Heilemann in 1986 will have a 2-wheel drive truck coming out. Here we watch him on replay. He got to bouncing a little bit out there. Now he really drifts to the right, and he was pumping the brakes pretty hard. He doesn't come up all that short, though, and that's going to put him in 3rd place at 221, 9.7.
The pulse always quickens a little bit when Dave Banter hooks up to the sled and gets ready to pull.
Well, the dynamic duo of the Banter brothers, David in the driver's seat, Ralph, who builds the tractors and I tell you, they've been 13 times Grand National Circuit champions, probably the most recognized championship pullers in NTPA. However, Tim Engler and Bruce Hutchison really coming on strong the last couple of years. They normally don't do all that well in the 7, but they'll give everybody a run for their money today, running 4 of the 427 Chevrolets. Here we go, Dave Banter. John, I will eat my words on that one, and I'm sure Ralph Banter will come and say, hey, we do well in the 7.
Well, he did what he had to do with that pull, and it looks like he got the full pull. Should put him into the pull-off. Here it is on the replay.
You will see a big gap right in front of the driver, Dave Banter. That's where they'll add the 5th motor on Sunday afternoon for the 12 Open, and boy, they get it out by just a couple of feet. Now, they may be under horsepowered a little bit right there, but as I said earlier in the broadcast, they'll never be out-engineered.
And it is official. Full pull for Dave Banter, and so now we have Ronnie Reed, Tim Engler, and Dave Banter all waiting for the pull-off.
And you can see Banter looking over his left shoulder and saying, did I get it out? He did.
We have 4 competitors left in the 7,000-pound modifieds, and now hooking up to the sled and getting ready to make his run is Russ Janssen.
Well, Russ and Carol Janssen are just 2 of the very special people on the NTPA circuit, and Russ is always there, bending the throttle, running 4 of the 496 Chevrolets in the chassis that he and Carol and their crew built from Oregon, Illinois. Russ Janssen, the Black Hawk Special, giving it all he's got. John, you will notice, and it sounds like he's got some engine problems, you will notice that there was no weight on the front of the tractor. In other words, he had no option. He ran heavy on the nose because he had no weight to move to the rear. There are no 100-pound weights on the front of the tractor, so he had to live with that run. And you'll notice that the front end was pretty much glued to the track.
All the way down, all the way through the whole run.
I think if he could have got that front end to lift, then he might have added another 20 feet to his pull.
It's going to be very close to 200 feet. There it is. It's a 197. 197, 9.2 for Russ Janssen.
I think he's a little concerned about his engines in that picture.
Sonny Owens from Harwood, Maryland is driving the only Ford engine in the class today.
That's exactly right, and boy, he's got a lot of Chevys against him here today. Now, these are 3 604 cubic inch Ford Hemi motors, but the biggest engine that Ford would make. Sonny Owens, and looks like the fatherly figure up there in the seat, but boy, this guy can push the throttle down. And a great gentleman of this fine sport. Sonny Owens, the Harwood Honker. He has another tractor with an Allison aircraft engine in it. And he comes close, going to be a couple feet short, maybe another 100 pounds of weight to the back, but he was able to hold that power.
Just what I was thinking, Dave. I noticed as he went by, he had several weights on the front of the tractor, and the front end didn't get up. But had he transferred some to the back, maybe he'd have gotten a few more feet.
Now, this tractor, similarly to the Norm Smith J&H pulling team, it's a staircase fashion on the engines as we watch on the replay. He didn't have too many problems handling the tractor, but there's a clutch on each motor. A clutch on each engine, and these are centrifugal clutches, is what they call a Crowler glide clutch. And he applies the throttle, the RPMs, as more RPMs come out of the engine, it locks up the clutch.
And it's a 221 4.8 for Sonny Owens, and that won't do it as we have 3 people waiting to get into the pull-off. Two competitors left in the class. John Walsh from Boston, Wisconsin is getting hooked up.
All right, John, he will be running the same motors that Ronnie Reed and Tim Engler have run So if it holds true, these areas could be the dominating motor here today. John Walsh out of Wisconsin, turning it loose. Oh boy, a wild run, a wild one. He almost came right toward our table. He kept it in bounds, pushing the brakes really down. He was pumping that right brake.
And he really chewed up a lot of dirt here at the end of the track as he was trying to pull and pull for those extra few feet. It's hard to say whether he pulled it across or not. It looks like he might not have.
All right, let's watch this now. He starts going to the left-hand side. He's really pumping the brakes. They've got good disc brakes on there. Knocks down the 200-foot mark. And this is going to be close. Remember, a full pull is 234 feet. No, he's going to be shy at 229, 11.8. He's 5 foot short. Well, just a little less than that, about 4 foot short, actually. Tough break for John Walsh.
Ronnie Reed, Tim Engler, and Dave Banter await for their pull-off, and there's one more gentleman who has hopes of joining them.
Young Tad Will out of Central City, Pennsylvania, with his injected Allison. We saw not only Tad pull yesterday, but Willard, his dad, pull as well. There's the Tinker toy. They have this single injected engine, and then, of course, they have their twin as well. One of the top pulling teams on the East Coast. They've won just about every point championship in the state of Pennsylvania. His dad, Willard, used to be the president of the Pennsylvania Tractor Pullers Association. Here we go. Tad Will. John, almost a perfect run. I mean, the only thing that they lacked was a full pull, but you can't knock that run at all. A good pull for Tad Will right down the center of the track.
Nice job of driving the tractor. He's got that single Allison engine, and as we've noticed with that setup, the pull he got is just about what you can expect from that setup.
Well, the entire Will family likes to travel around the country as we watch the re-pull here, or the replay rather, and he lifted a little bit. Made a good pull.
176, 6.4. 176, 6.4 for Tad Will. And so we go to the pull-off featuring Ronnie Reed, Tim Engler, and Dave Banter. Pull-off is set to start. The first one, Ronnie Reed.
This is for all the marbles job. We've got the 3 top modified tractors in the country in this class. Reed, Engler, and Banter brothers going head-to-head. It'll be the 3 motors of Reed against the 4 of the other 2 drivers. Here we go. Nemesis, Ronnie Reed on his way. That's going to be a tough one to beat. Excellent pull for Ronnie Reed, and that's one of the nice positions of pulling first in the pull-off. You're going to let it all hang out. They're really tearing up the track now.
I think there's still dirt coming down out of the air.
There is. He is really throwing it up into the air. Nemesis, which is the Greek god of vengeance, the name of his tractor.
And he's taking vengeance on the rest of the class here. He's gotten into the pull-off with the full pull and a nice strong pull on this one, right down the center of the track. No problems. Here it is. It's a 202, 3.2. 202, 3.2 for Ronnie Reed.
That's the distance to beat. Engler up next.
Tim Engler is up and backing up to the sled, getting ready to pull. All 3 of these gentlemen will be assured of a place in the winner's circle, but it remains to be seen who's going to be the winner.
Oh, this is sheer class. I tell you, great tractor. He's got all the right ingredients. He's a cool driver. Nothing really rattles Tim Engler. We've seen him come late in the class to win in the first round. We've seen him win a lot of pull-offs. This guy's can do it, no question about it. Now, certainly he's one of the favorites here, he and Banners, but they've got a long way to go to beat Ronnie Reed. He's on it. He is moving. and rattles the building. Spectacular. 2 full pulls for Engler. He waves to the crowd. They love him here in his home state of Indiana. He is excited.
Mission impossible indeed. He came out here and jumped on it again with a heavier sled.
I believe that the feeling just went through him as we watched the replay that he thinks he's got this one in the bag. He says, let the Banter brothers try to catch me now.
And you can guarantee it that the Banter brothers are planning to do just that. Tim Engler with a full pull. Dave Banter has to have a full pull to force this into another pull-off. This is a great way to see the class in.
Isn't this, though? This has been a spectacular session of pulling here at Indy Super Bowl 13. Now, I don't know what tricks he has in his bag, but he's got to pull them out right now. Whether he'll drop the hammer quick, he may be slightly under horsepower compared to Engler's Aries. But we've seen Dave Banter time after time come from late in the class and win it. So Engler leads with 2 full pulls. Reed's currently second at 2:02.3.2. And here go the legendary Banter brothers on their way. He lights them up. A little trouble coming off the line. Now he's moving. No, he got over to the left-hand side. He had to work the brake, and he's going to come up about 55 feet short. Tim Engler has won the 7,000-pound modified at Indy Super Bowl for 1986.
And I think Dave Banter knew it just as soon as he went to the left-hand side of the track. He gave it a shot, but I think he knew he wasn't going to get the job done. You can see him come back towards the middle of the track on the replay, but there's just no way.
And John, what's going through his mind right now, he says, I'm going to get Engler in the 12,000-pound unlimited, or at least I'm going to try.
And the pull comes in at 195.5.5. And so in the class, Tim Engler wins it.